Welcome back to the TAE Time Podcast with me and Farouk here, who is trying to hold in his hiccups. So today I will lead the show or whatever.
Yeah, I was holding my breath, trying to get rid of my hiccups. I think they're gone. Thankfully. Yeah, I think they're gone. Man, it's so annoying. I drank water upside down and everything. And they usually always fix it, but when I say upside down, I go like, for people who are watching, I go like, I put my head back like that and I pause.
Yeah, you're meant to put water in your mouth and then tilt your head up and then...
I drink it like that
the
whole time. So, and it usually helps, but that time it didn't help. So, but holding my breath, it was the last hit to finish it off.
Pow, pow. Uppercut.
How are you? Sorry, actually, before we do that, yes, we are sorry. We missed the last 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. And it's actually not my fault because I said both weeks.
Of you blaming me.
I said both weeks, oh, Nicoletta, we need to record X day, otherwise we're going to miss this week. And she's like, yeah. And on the day,
I haven't even said anything. You haven't even said anything. There were times when you didn't even remind me. You're like, fuck it.
I did. How dare you?
No, you didn't.
I reminded you.
Now you're shifting blame. Even today, I was like, Farouk, let's record today.
Yeah, you said that. And you know what? It's to make up for your missed grievances the last 2 weeks, you know?
No,
and I'm glad you owned up to it. And I'm glad you repented and worked on yourself. And I'm glad because we have been busy, to be honest, the last 2 weeks. It was very tight for us. It was either going to be like a rushed episode or a good episode. And that's where people go, I guess every episode is rushed then. No, we put time and effort into this.
Listen here, punk.
Put time and effort into this. Yeah. But yeah, so and here you got an actual episode. We're actually here. It's been busy. We have a few things to talk about because we have done a few things over the last 2 weeks.
Are we doing it? Is this Destination Worth the Hype episode?
Oh, I don't think we're going to do a full episode on that, but okay. I think we're going to like talk about
like a little summary.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then we can talk about whatever else.
As you can see, we have come prepared.
Exactly. So I'm prepared mentally. She doesn't have her little note, and you know she always says, "I just can't work unless I have like my notes and stuff." My iPad.
I need my iPad.
But I, off the dome, always have ready to unload.
Yeah.
But so the first week, the reason we missed it is because we left on a certain day. I'm not gonna say what day to go to Poland.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. You would have never thought we would end up there.
Yeah, you never guess me anyway. I can see, you're white. Perhaps. You go to Poland as a little cheap trip.
I had zero interest, like even with or without you, to ever go. We ended up in Warsaw, just so we're on the same page. Yeah. I know there's different parts of Poland, obviously, but we went to Warsaw, and we were so surprised, y'all.
Why you say it like that?
So surprised.
Why you say it like that? That's how you get cancelled.
Why?
Because it's like, why were you surprised?
I was surprised.
Why? Okay, you can say that.
I'll tell you why. I was so
Use
surprised.
your Oinbo privilege.
Yeah, exactly. You can't cancel me. So for me, right, when I think of Poland, I think of Romania, like Romania akin type of place.
What's that meant to mean?
Not to shit on my own country.
Bucharest was lovely.
But yes, Bucharest has lovely spots and everything. But there are, questionable areas, you know. And I feel like Bucharest city isn't like skyscrapers and like, these pretty buildings and blah, blah. It's not really.
It's little Paris.
Yeah, no.
It has lots of pretty buildings.
It has pretty buildings.
You
but
mean
it's
modern?
Yes, modern. It's very like more historical, architectural design, And I was so pleasantly surprised by Warsaw, which I expected it to be similar. If anything, more like Soviet Union vibes that you get from like the blocks in Timișoara, like something like that. And that wasn't the case, honestly. It was such a beautiful city with so many like huge buildings with these big companies and very modern, very clean, very clean. I don't know. I just didn't expect it to be that good. It was really good.
Anyway, let me use real words. Yes, Warsaw was actually quite a modern city. Like, I did not expect there to be as many skyscrapers. And once again, I know there's a lot of tech companies in Warsaw. Like, it is actually kind of like a little bit of a tech hub. Like, Warsaw is a bit of a tech hub, but I didn't expect it to be very like, what's it called? Like, skyscrapers. I once again, when I say skyscraper, it's literally a handful. It's literally like 6, 7, like, skyscrapers.
Maybe a
like
few more, though.
no, like 6, 7 skyscrapers all in one place, built up in the center. But they have this massive like clock tower kind of thing building.
That was gorgeous,
which is really nice looking. And then a lot of like other like obviously modern stores and modern buildings for the stores. Like the shopping mall wasn't like an old place redone. It was like a new kind of like facade and everything like that. So
right.
Yeah, it's very it is surprisingly like a proper city, you know, like, and when you say that, like, once again, you're like, oh, proper city, what's that mean? As in, like, you, like, especially when you go to mostly, like, Eastern European countries, you know, they have a lot of, like, Soviet bloc kind of era style buildings and stuff, but this seems to, like, they do have that, like, we even, myself and my friend went to, like, an area that did have a lot of that and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, it's there, but, like, in the city center, it is actually quite nice. It's like it's akin to, I think what really does it is it stands like that out because there's not that many. So like take for example, if you go into like London city center, Dublin city center, all these places, there's a bunch of buildings, a lot of high-rise buildings and lots of different buildings, right? And once again, Dublin doesn't have like high-rise, but you know, like Docklands, all these other London places where Workday, stuff like that, all these different buildings. But in here, because there's so much space and very little high-rise buildings, the buildings that are there stand out even more. Yeah. I think it's more of a case of like there were so few, but everything stands out, and it's like the square is massively open, so you have a lot of open space for people just to be around, and it's not like covered in buildings. You know, which makes it so different. It doesn't seem as clustered.
Yeah, and then they kind of had this like little city center square type thing, and then there was like stores on all sides, so it makes it really like really good for people to come and chill out in. You know, and I really like that. And like you said, the clock tower, is that what it is? That was beautiful. Like beautiful, it's beautiful like architecture, and like your friends were even saying like you know, you can kind of like find your way back by just finding the building, because you can kind of see it from, you know, all angles. And I thought it was just so
which goes back to the whole like beautiful. It not being cluttered, because the fact that you can see from different angles means like there's not enough buildings that's like cluttering it, you know. So it's like pretty interesting. It's like in comparison to other cities, it has the city thing, but it just doesn't have that as many buildings as a city does. Do you get me?
It feels like
it feels like it's just being built.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like we're at the start of Warsaw, you know, developing, and I'm loving it. Like, I wish it stayed like that. Obviously, every city needs to develop and more company, blah, blah, blah.
More buildings.
Like, you know, but I really like that. And I think what really helped was that the weather was so good, and the sunset was hitting the city, and there was just that, like, evening vibe in a city that I haven't really felt since Tokyo, I think, you know, like big city with like a nice sunset, like heat, that kind of
fair. Yeah, but no, this city like landscape was pretty interesting, pretty cool, and definitely different. Obviously, as I said, like for me anyway, I didn't ever think I was gonna go Poland, you know, as a black male in like Europe. Like Eastern Europe is kind of just like a write-off place for me, you know. So like I was quite surprised. It was actually calm, no real like experience much of anything. It was just pretty chill. Like we were there to see one of my friends girl for her birthday, shout out. So yeah, we were there and just having a good time for a few days. It was good. I was actually surprised. There was a lot to do. There's lots of kind of, it's funny that you said Tokyo, very interesting. They have the concept of like convenience stores the same way like Japan does, where it's like they have żabkas like literally on like every block, like, you know, just like a 7-Eleven or like a Family Mart or Kmart or any of those ones, like literally like that, where it's just like a small store that has a bunch of different stuff and it's just convenient.
It's amazing though, you know? It's amazing because they were all kind of stocked with different like baked stuff, like household stuff, you know, whatever. And I love that they were everywhere, literally everywhere.
But they do lose out on the fact that one, they're not, I don't think they're as good as the convenience in Japan. And two, they're only open from 6 to 11. The other ones are 24/7. Like, I can't go down at 2 a.m.
Not overworked. Overworked workers.
But no, I always say this. I will always say this. Every modern city, especially the capital of a country, should never have closing hours. Because you have enough people in that city that there is definitely people willing to do those shifts.
Yeah.
There is definitely people willing to do those shifts. I'm not saying every store has to be 24/7, but you should have a lot of stores that are 24/7 because there are people who are willing to do night. Some people are just night owls and they want to go quickly work at night or whatever or do extra shifts. You should have that available.
We were talking about that actually because we happened to be around on a Sunday and there was very little things open.
Very little, nothing.
Like barely anything. And, you know, Farouk was saying, like, this is so silly. Like, there's definitely someone in the city who wants to work on the Sunday, you know? So, yeah, I kind of agree.
Like, I get it. And it's cool that, like, you know, Europe has that whole, like, Sunday rest day kind of concept. And I get it. Everywhere but a major city. Because a major city is a major city. Like, there's bare people there, bro. Like, it should be running like clockwork, you know? Like, we should be taken away, you know? So, I do understand. But as I said, I think if you are the capital city of a country, you should be, like, look at Lagos. Lagos don't sleep. New York don't sleep either, you know? Like, those are proper capital cities. Like, there's always something going on and always something open. Like, it has to be ticking away, like, the whole time. You know, so
capitalistic of you.
I know. But it is what it is. And once again, like, it's just a difference in mentality. Obviously, like, I can also see the viewpoint as to why, like, things should be closed at night. People should be able to get their rest. Sundays, things should be closed. Everyone has one day of rest at least. But it's not like you're saying every single store should be open 24/7. Yeah, exactly.
Because at the same time, obviously, stores won't be because if they're not getting enough money, what's the point of being open? Like, what's the point of, like, Zara being open at 2 a.m?
Makes no sense.
You know? But a convenience store or even cafes, you know what? I think cafes close way too early, and especially in Dublin. Dublin was really bad for that.
Yeah, but that was annoying.
It is annoying, but, like, I'd hate the idea of, like, just, like, late night bars being open from a certain time or, like, whatever. That's one thing I love so much about Paris, that we were able to have a sweetie and a hot chocolate at, like, 1 a.m. That I love that.
Late night cafes.
Yeah. And I think it was a restaurant that was obviously kept open, but, like, you can just go in, get a little something, and then leave. And I think it helps for people who don't want to drink, maybe it's Monday night, I don't want to go out for a drink, but I'd love to go out for, like, a tea or something with friends, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, fully agree. And then I guess we can also talk about, like, the city itself as, like, it's pretty interesting. There is a lot to do, you know, like as in, like, shopping wise and exploring wise, which is pretty interesting. Our friends took us around. And then the night life, actually pretty interesting. I was kind of pleasantly surprised. So we went out to both nights. Like, once again, the music scene, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, the first night we went out, I didn't really enjoy the music at all. But then towards the end, it got good because...
Where did we go the first night?
We went to Sen. We went to Sen the first night. So it's like a rooftop. Rooftop bar nightclub thing. So SEN, by the way. Like, every time I hear it, I thought it was like the River Sen, but no, it's not. It's SEN. So, but it is funny because it is by the river, which is interesting.
I think that was a point.
Yeah, but it's not Sen, like the River Sen. But so we went to Sen, and that was pretty cool. Like, the venue was cool. Like, you know, it was like a 360 kind of like rooftop, not rooftop, like but it's on the rooftop kind of thing. Level nightclub bar. The music was, but the when it switched to the woman DJ, and she was doing like some crazy mixes, like with different kind of sounds, like techno-y, but like Afro, hip hop, old school hip hop kind of thing. I was like, yo, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but there wasn't enough people. A lot of people left already at the time, so it just felt dead. And so we left as well. And then the second night, we went to
Copacabana.
Copacabana. It's not Copacabana.
It's probably just Cabana.
What was it?
Cabana, no?
No, it wasn't Cabana.
I swear it was.
Was it Cabana? Maybe it was Cabana. Cabino or Cabino. It was something like that. It was Cabino or
Copacabana.
Copacabana, what we're called anyway. But we went there, and that wasn't too bad. That was like, honestly, it gives me massive. What's the name of that place in Cork? What's the name of that place? Old Oak, but bigger version vibes, or like Hennessy's but bigger, or like Dicey's but the inside part of Dicey's kind of thing.
Do you know what vibes I got?
Wow.
Hotel lobby.
It
was giving hotel lobby. Like there was these pillars. Like
like I was talking about like
the music.
Like like the club, the way like what clubs it emulates similar.
Yeah, it was giving hotel lobby.
Yeah, no, it is like it's so you enter, right, and then there's like this massive open space on the left, obviously with pillars, as Nicholas said, on the far left of it, and then a massive like not fully rectangular because it's cut off at the back on the back left, but bar. So like the bar touches the wall, goes out, kind of creates like the semi square, you know. So it's like a semi square, half a square, like essentially. Thing. Then the back room, there's a back room where it has like a little upstairs where the DJ booth and stuff, and there's two different rooms with two different types of music kind of going. The first room is kind of like a Spanish-y kind of flow,
but I think it
Latin.
depends on the night because they have different music for different nights. And we happen to catch them.
Yeah. The night before apparently was hip hop.
Flop.
Yeah, my friend was saying. So like the night before was hip hop. And then, but that night we went, it was like Spanish in that room, like Latin music. And then the other room was kind of like it was meant to be like hip hoppy kind of Afrobeats, but I would say it was more like commercially, more like an old school kind of music, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I mean, the DJs weren't that good, whatever, but I wasn't fully feeling it still. It was okay. Like, I have been like genuinely like destroyed and blessed and like,
here we go.
Like my taste has been elevated by, like both like DJs here, like in like kind of like Eden's or like certain places.
Eden's under fire right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I have a girl's video. Yeah, let's not talk about that. What's it called? And then what's it called? As well as like Lagos, best DJ. Like
the music was good, but
it was what I wanted to hear anyway. As I said, like it was curated to my taste. Like once again, I don't mind what you play as long as you do it well. I think that's my biggest thing, right?
I don't believe that because
if you
play throwbacks and you wouldn't like it no matter how it's played.
No, if it's mixed well with different stuff, like once again, I in Sen when that woman was playing the music with the techno beats, I was like, this is really good. I was like, you are a really good DJ. This is an example of a DJ that can make people cross genres and enjoy themselves, right? And like once again, techno is one of the things that like I enjoy majority of music, but techno is not something that like I'm crazy about. I can enjoy techno if I think it's done well, right? If I think that techno is done well, not just like simple repetitive beats just because like someone's on drugs or whatever, but like actually like good techno. Yeah. So actual good techno I enjoy, and obviously that's subjective to every person and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think the DJs personally for me were like it was giving Hennessy DJ, giving Old Oak DJ.
I think it was very like college night out.
Yeah, very much
but
so.
Because it was students out,
Yeah. So, but how about you? What did you think about that kind of like the nightlife plus the also during the day life? What was your thoughts about Warsaw like that?
I think it was better than I expected once again. I kind of expected, I don't know, nights out like just like your casual clubs with like uns music, but it wasn't that. Maybe it's the places that we went to. Obviously, there's probably places with uns music, but it was better than I expected. But I wouldn't say it was like, oh, I would die to go back to these nightclubs or something. It was just okay. I feel like the men are a little You know, they were a little, in the first club that we went to, a little creepy.
There's a few creepy guys, yeah.
In the first club. Then the second club, I think it was a lot more diverse. I guess that's another thing that I didn't expect from Warsaw to be so diverse.
By the way, diverse is not meaning black people. Because there's not that many black people.
There's a lot of like people from India, people from
different parts of Asia.
Different parts of Asia, but not as many black people. Bar one or two.
Bar a few.
Yeah, so that I didn't expect that. But then I am hearing of a lot of people going to Eastern European countries for the education.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to like see it in real life, because I just hear of it, but then like seeing it is like, oh.
It's like all the black people going to Bucharest to do medicine.
Yeah, you picked the right one.
Yeah.
Bucharest is better.
Bucharest is good. I like, once again, not to compare cities, but I really like Bucharest as a city. I don't know why this trader
I love Bucharest.
Is here. She was saying that Warsaw is better. I'll let you guys know right now, Romanians.
Wasn't.
No, let me stitch on her right now. She said Warsaw is better than Bucharest. Yes, she did. She said Warsaw is better than Bucharest. Take away her Romanian passport right now.
I may have said that.
And give it to me, because I repped you guys. Because I genuinely think, and no bias wherever, I genuinely think Bucharest is a better city. Like, I really had a good time in Bucharest, you know. And once again, don't get me wrong, I had a good time in Warsaw, but I think Bucharest had everything I wanted, in the sense of it had all that really nice, like French, Victorian, like different, like kind of oldish architectures. It had like a nice vibe, had a good night out. The music we had the night we went out as well was much better. We
went to an Afrobeat
I don't care, but they played other things too. And once again, like, it was really good. You know, I think the city's a little quaint and nice, you know, whatever. Like, obviously, it's not as big as Warsaw. Warsaw is like twice the size, you know, but I think the quaintness adds to it, you know, kind of thing. Like, Warsaw gives really big city, but as I said, it's like really big city under development. You know, it's not like fully developed yet. So I think if it fully like, I think then it could definitely be a really high hitter, like, you know, dark horse there once it fully goes. But I'm sure, but like, you can see why the Polish people who live in Warsaw don't leave.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, you know, once again, don't get me wrong, lots of people in lots of different countries obviously don't leave. Like, there are people who live in Lagos who don't leave Lagos. There are people who live in London who don't leave London. But, you know, every place always has its own like migration of like people leaving, right? Obviously, because you have Polish people everywhere. Ireland knows all too well. But the ones who stay there and have a life there, it's not like the same of like, oh, if I stay in Bucharest or like certain places or I stay in Lagos, like, and as long as I have like a good job and a good everything, I'm living a very good life.
Yeah.
Right. But then there are people who live in the city and they're having like a really, really shit life. Right. Warsaw is very much more so like, it seems like everyone is kind of like, obviously, don't get me wrong, I could be wrong, but this is just from my observation. It looks like regardless where you are on the totem pole in Warsaw, you're kind of calm, right? It seems like it's just like a city. It literally gives like Dublin, you know, like forget about all its issues. There's no reason to actually really leave Dublin, you know, kind of thing. Dublin. I know, but you get what I mean. Besides all like, the issue with rent and stuff like that, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, so as a person who grows up, I'm not a Dublin native, but like someone who grows up in Dublin, there's no real reason for them to be like, oh, I want to leave Dublin. You know, like, you know,
because it's like you have everything you kind of need. Exactly. Here. Why would you leave?
So you don't really. So I can see that, you know, like, but like I know Polish people, I have Polish friends, and they said like obviously that makes sense, but and they said like the people in Warsaw kind of like have like an air about them and whatever in comparison to like the people from outside there.
Because they look at them like they're. What did that guy call?
Peasants.
Peasants.
Yeah. And like, peasants. Whereas like, but he said like a lot of people obviously who live outside of Warsaw want to leave because it's obviously like the opportunity is not as good, so on and so forth, which makes sense, you know? So like Warsaw is not a good shining example of what the rest of Poland is. I don't think so, you know, from what my friends have told me. So definitely.
That's majority of places.
Yeah. I can argue that. I can really genuinely argue that. Like, take for example, Ireland. Even if you don't live in Dublin, right? Forget about the fun parts. There's pretty much opportunity in most places outside of Dublin, yes or no? Opportunity, as in like...
To work on farms?
Once again, I'm saying like in Tralee, we know lots of people who live in Tralee, have a life in Tralee, grow up there, and like live there and have a stable job, have a normal like house and whatever. You can have normal lives, right? Whereas there's difference between that and like people who live like, let's say, in Lublin or something who don't have like a good job or whatever, and they're only making ends meet, and then it's like shit.
I get what you mean, but I think obviously Ireland, first of all, it's a small country and the government really takes care of you. It's the government like taking care of its people. I'm sure if that was the case in Lublin too, people would stay, but you see rampant poverty in all these smaller, quainter areas because nobody cares about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No one in Ireland like is leaving outside of Dublin and leaving Ireland for opportunity. And when I say opportunity, I don't mean like people are leaving because they're like, oh, we don't have little jobs. No, you don't have your fancy tech jobs, fancy little big boy jobs where you make good money, and because you get taxed like freaking Ireland, right? But like I'm talking opportunity as in generally just getting a good paying job, like a decent salary that you can live on, you know, like a good thing that you can survive, you can take care of your family. No one's leaving Ireland no one's leaving Ireland for that. No one's leaving Ireland for that. But you know, like Ireland has a lot of its own problems.
Obviously,
but that's not its problem.
You want me to work? I need to sneeze.
Look at her. She's sick, guys. Forgive her.
I've been sick for 6 weeks, guys. It's not funny.
Continue. No one's leaving.
I feel like there's another one coming.
Oh,
I feel like nobody's, leaving like small places of Ireland. Like they're leaving it because even in the small places, you can't even afford to buy a home. You know what I mean? Like even on a minimum wage,
that's a different story.
You're actually going to struggle. So people don't want that, and they don't want that, especially because all their parents, grandparents had completely different opportunities on their minimum wage jobs.
Yeah, and once again, that's across the world. But there are people who live in like Lublin who generally like they're making ends meet, and ends meet is not ends meet. It's not enough. Do you get me? Yeah. Like you can live outside of the thing, and it's enough for you to live.
But it's like, a privilege that people don't understand. Like people are like, oh, like I want to leave to like for better. But then it's like people would die to be in their shoes.
Exactly.
And that's always gonna be the case.
Absolutely.
Like, that's always gonna be the case.
Yeah. So, but that's just all I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and you can't come at me. Like, I lived in Ireland for a long time. Time.
Poverty is an experience, okay? It's not a story that you can try to be part of. It's deep, it's deep rooted, you know?
Something you gotta live through, for real.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like, there's a reason we came to your country.
And stealing your jobs.
But yeah, no.
One thing I did feel was, we went to Farouk's friend's girlfriend's birthday, and she's a college student, so she had a lot of college students over, and I definitely felt like an old hag.
Yeah, because you're old.
No, I don't know. I'm not old. I don't think I'm old. However, to someone that young, I'm very old.
My friend's girlfriend is not young because it sounds so bad. She's 24 years old.
Yeah, she's of age. They're college students. They're all of age.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying like the rest of her friends were all like 21, 20.
Yeah, but she was.
That would be sus if he was dating.
She was in 6th year and everyone else was in.
Yeah, in first year, second year. Yeah, exactly. We should have said that as well. Yeah.
I was talking to this girl and her brother, and he was like, "Oh, like like how old are you? Like our age." And I was like, "I'm 27." He's like, "What?
2 and 7?" Oh God, 2 and 7. Porting.
I'm sorry. But yeah, he was shook.
Yeah.
He was like, oh my God, I thought you were like max like 24. And I was like, first of all, 24 is not that far from 27. But
it's light years to them.
Yeah. Because I was like, how old are you? He was like 21. I was like, oh my God, you're 21?
Yeah.
So I was like, I definitely felt a little.
But like we really are at that stage where like I always say like 25 onwards is just like the point of no return, where like everyone in their early 20s, regardless of where they are in their early 20s, generally looks at you like you're so old.
No, I get it. I completely get it. I was the same. Like you have no concept of age really, because I feel like now that I'm at 27, I don't find a 40-year-old weird. You know what I mean? I'm not like, ew, I have nothing in common. I probably do have a lot in common with a 40-year-old who's also probably trying to buy a home or like whatever, I don't
have a lot in common with a 40-year-old.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm going to look at them like they're ancient.
Yeah.
They're not ancient, you know?
Not, yeah.
It's not like that. And so another thing that then he goes to ask is like, oh, like, you know, so since you guys are 27, do you like still go out and party?
Yeah.
I was like, do we still go out and party? No. We can afford to go out and party, buddy. Oh. He's like, wait, that's true. Actually, that's true. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not here drinking your cheap vodka before a night out.
Yeah, Nicholas like, Rob, fuck you, little child.
yeah. Exactly. I was like, we buy tables and stuff.
You know, but yeah, no, definitely. But I already know this because I'm exposed to this all the time. Like my younger brother, like my youngest brother, and like my cuz, who's like my brother, they literally see me as unk status. They really do. Like Bass and Fuad literally always see you. They're like, yeah, you old as hell, bro. They're like, they're always like, you're near death's door, you know? Like, and like obviously to them, like Basit is now he's like 21, right? He's about to be 22, and he's literally going through a crisis, being like, man, I'm gonna be so old, like turning 22. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. And then like Fu is only 20, like, you know, like to them I'm freaking ancient, you know, in comparison, and they always make fun of it, and I'm just used to it. But yeah, I like, and that's why as a grown man you should not be going out with little kids. Just saying. I
don't know how we ended up
like
here,
I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
you know, there are people who go to clubs that, you know, like, why are you going to clubs that are under 21
as a 30-year-old?
You know, like, why are you going to, like, I can understand if there's no other options, and it's just, but then that makes sense because then it's all the age ranges are there, you know, for partying, all the age ranges. But like, if you're like in a city here, right, like London, I have no reason to go to a club that's under 21s. I have no reason.
Or like, oh, college night out, guys. What?
I have no
college night. What?
Like, you know, like, I don't have any reason to go to these places. I'm a grown ass man. I don't need to.
But I don't get it, because it's like, there are women on the nights out in normal clubs, like 21-year-old clubs. Is that too old for you?
Like, where are you trying to go, buddy?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
What are you looking for, buddy?
Are you looking for the ones who...
It's that TikTok I sent you with the book. It's like, so skinny with a childlike frame.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's the one. But yeah, so...
Questionable.
This episode ended up being destination worth the hype, to be honest. So like, it is what it is.
There's a lot to say about Poland, you know.
Yeah, there actually was a lot to say. I guess the question is obviously... Is the destination worth the hype?
I think it is.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, because it has no hype.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about Warsaw.
I've never been
ever.
Like, guys, Warsaw. Actually, I do know only one person, because that's the person we went there for.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one person alone who said it.
But he has to say that. His partner lives there.
Yeah, but either way, that's the only person I know that like says that stuff consistently. But no one else is screaming to me, Warsaw, bro. So is it worth the hype? It has no hype. Thus, it is actually worth the hype because it is actually better than you would assume.
Do you think it's worth the hype from a Black experience POV?
Once again, like, I didn't, like, there are places I've gone that I felt hostility, but I didn't feel any hostility. Once again, like, I wasn't really, like, people who definitely were looking, like, all the old people were looking. The old people. Like, I could not walk past an old person without them looking at me. The young people don't give a shit. But that was the same in Romania. All young people don't give a crap about me. They see enough black faces on the internet. They don't give a crap, right?
But does that kind of like warm your heart a little bit? Like, oh, we're healing, you know? You
know, like, yeah, a little bit, you know? Like, the most is they like, in certain places, like, they're excited because they're like, oh my God, I've never
My
seen...
place has hype?
Like, my
country has hype?
Yeah, it's like, wow, like, I've never seen a black person, like, in real person, but I've seen them online all the time, you know? Versus, like, thing. So, like, once again... We were there. I think this was definitely one of the times where I wasn't really, it's not noticing it. When I was looking for it is the term, but it sounds wrong. Like, as in, like, I wasn't caring. I think I've gone to a stage where I really don't even care, unless like it's purely malicious. Like, you know, like they're in my face and like
sometimes
disturbing.
It's obvious. That
exactly. I can't notice it. Like, that I think I'm at that stage where like that's the only thing that bothers me now.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't really look for, so like even if people were staring or whatever, I wouldn't even know because I wasn't even really clocking, because I'm sick of it. I like at this stage I really couldn't be bothered. But obviously there's certain places that we've went to and we've said it before that like it was like very bad and whatever. So but Poland was pretty calm, honestly. Like it was pretty calm. Well, not Poland, Warsaw was pretty calm. Like I didn't, like, would I say it was fine for a black person? Yeah, like I could absolutely see
someone have a bad experience.
Someone having a bad experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously this goes for everywhere, but I can see it. Like take for example, even at Sen, like there were some guys that were just weird, you know, like, and even forget about, they were weird to the girls, but they were weird to like me, you know, kind of thing. But I don't really give a shit because I'm just like, you're all weird anyway in the first place. Like literally you get my point if you saw the way they were like treating the girl. It was weird. It was weird. Like a lot of weird guys. So I was like, you're just a weird person in general. Like it's usually always you weirdos, you know? So like whatever. But out in public it wasn't really anything. So it was pretty chill. And so I would say it's you know, like I wouldn't say it's like amazing, you know, but I say it's calm. Yeah, I don't think there's much issue, you know, and if you do have issues, it'd be pretty interesting to hear, you know, and stuff like that. Because like take for example, I saw, I think it was like 3 weeks ago now, where I saw a TikTok from a black girl.
Shut up, man. It was in Romania.
Yeah. The black girl who didn't like Romania. Yeah. And she said it was very racist. Like the
showing the term.
Yeah, like the taxi drivers, all these people were very racist to her. Yeah. Which is completely different from the experience I had, you know. And once again, you know, it could just be who I'm with, it could be whatever, but I've never had a bad experience in Romania, you know? Yeah. So, but like obviously people have bad experiences.
I can see how.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I can see so, but then I can see how someone can have a bad time anywhere.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can have a bad time anywhere, but there are certain places that are just bad for everybody. Guaranteed. Like, no, don't say it. Like,
but don't Italy, you think that you should warn your people?
Italy, no one's going there. Let's be honest. Let's be freaking for real right now. Italy is an example, and don't shit me. I've been to Milan. The moment I stepped foot in that city, I was already racially profiled, like all the time, you know? Like when we went to go eat, the first place we went for food, they didn't want to serve me, but then when Nicoletta came in, they served her.
Yeah. You were also racially profiled in Warsaw, sorry, off topic, when we landed.
Oh yeah, straight off the bat, when we landed at the airport, straight away, I completely forgot about that. Right now. Like everybody was walking by and they said, you. Like, come right now.
It's like they were on the clock.
Nicoletta was beside me. They didn't even care about her suitcase. And it was only when Nicoletta went like, oh, should I give my suitcase to you? They're like, yeah.
Whatever, like, I suppose.
You know, like they did not give a... So I could have hid anything I wanted in her suitcase. I would have gone away with it.
I swear, it looked like he just woke up from a nap. He was like, I'm supposed to be working. Found him. Yeah, no. So it was... And it was pretty interesting. But yeah, no. That was it. Obviously, certain places, Italy, very like just. I'm just gonna name drop.
No, we're never name dropping that place. If you want to know about it, ask me in person, and I'll tell you. And I'll tell you my own personal experience.
I wish we could do an episode where we just shit on it the entire time.
No, we can't do that because the problem isn't. I don't mind shitting on anything publicly. The problem is we have someone close to us that we were involved with during the... If we had just went there...
That's not up to them.
If we had just went there normally, I wouldn't mind. But because it's someone close to us, for their special thing, I don't want to discuss that.
Because if we went to Romania and you had a bad time, I would be more than happy to talk about
Absolutely.
it. So it's
rightfully
the same thing. Like, okay, I came for you, for your country, okay? Like, if I went to Lagos, right? And I had a really bad fucking time.
I hope you would never talk about it.
You know I wouldn't talk about it? I'd be on TikTok live.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like it's your duty as someone who's like been there to be like, hey, like, this is a bad location.
As I said, no one is going there. Did I even see a black person? You know, I didn't even see one.
No,
two. I saw two. I saw two. Yes, actually, you're right. I saw two. I was shocked.
Yeah, the shopping mall.
But deep, two for the entirety of the time we were there. There are places that I've gone to, like Warsaw, where I can't even count how many black people I saw.
Yeah.
You know? Just saying.
No, guys, this location was bad. Anyway, Warsaw. It was good.
Yeah. And let us know if you've been to Warsaw. What you think? Your thoughts? Give us your opinions. I know two people who are very eager for this episode because they did ask me last week when it was coming out, and I told them it was going to come out last weekend. I lied. It's actually coming out this weekend. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.
Till next time.
Peace.